Hi, I'm Chad, and this video is a follow-up of a previous video on research skills. So in that video, we were talking about some basic strategies and techniques for research skills, looking for particular research topics like sustainability or other things that you might need in your MBA. So we were talking about some basic Google searching, talking about Google Scholar, talking about simple things like using the reference list of your allocated readings, and backtracking, doing some detective work, things like that. Today, I want to take you through a few other research skills. So some slightly more advanced techniques that will narrow your focus a little bit more, get you better results, and really help you get the kinds of articles, get the kinds of sources that you really need to be doing good research for your university studies. Now, to some degree, doing research is a bit of a trial and error thing. So you have to try some different things, you have to see how it works, try something else, try something a little bit different, and change your strategies and just go with what works a little bit. It's a bit like working with a complex system. So you try something, try a bit of an experiment. If something seems to work, you amplify it. If something seems to not work, you dampen it, and then you keep going until you get closer. So at the same time, your research skills will be improving. So you'll be getting a better sense of what the discipline is about, what kind of keywords will be more effective as you find things and discover the relevance of them and narrow down your focus. You'll get better, you'll improve your skills at finding research. So really it's a lot of persistence. That's a bit of time and a lot of persistence. But these strategies are designed to help you save time as well, to help you try and get some good results as soon as possible. So to start with, what I would say is that it's quite important for you to be using the library. Once you get into more advanced searching, you should be beyond Google searches and beyond Google Scholar searches, and you should be using the library in a variety of ways. The library search tool is a good place to start. So I'll show you a couple of little techniques that help with that. So we're back here on the library search page, and you should be familiar with this by now. It's just a key resource for your research in general. So the first kind of strategy or little skill or little technique I want to give you is a wildcard strategy or a wildcard search. Now, this uses an asterisk in place of other things in a way, right? So for example, say you want to do a really broad search for lots of things covering the term sustainability, but you'll realize that you will be interested in the word sustainability, maybe sustainabilities, maybe sustainable, and maybe even other things that are like the word sustainable that you can't think of right now. So what you would do is you would do sustainable with an apostrophe like that. Okay, that will basically search for everything with the word sustainable and anything after that. So if you go from that on the library search tool, now this might not work on Google, it works on the library search tool. You can see here introducing just sustainability's policy, planning and practice, or advanced building technologies for sustainability. So you can see how it's found sustainabilities and sustainability like that. Now we've got another sustainability there, we've got just sustainables there, we've got business and sustainability concepts, sustainable practice. So it's coming up with a bit more diversity and variety in our findings. Now, through having done this, we've immediately found this phrase, just sustainabilities. It's come up twice here. Is it the same author? We've got, no, it's a different author. You may find this author, or you may find some connections here, but we've got a new concept, just sustainabilities. We may then go back to Google and let's have a look at that. So just sustainabilities like that. Okay, so there's a book called Just Sustainabilities. There's that author, Agyeman, another book here. So this seems like quite a significant term that we could look into in our research. So using this wildcard search, it's come up with a new term for us straight away. Now, the other thing that you can do is use what's a strategy that is called Boolean searching. Okay, now this uses what they call Boolean operators. It's a little bit like coding or simple coding. Basically, it's a way of connecting terms or separating terms from each other. The three terms that are relevant here are and, or, and not. Okay, so if you search for two terms with the word "and" between them, it will mean it will look for both of those in the findings. If you search for the terms "or," it'll look for both of those. It'll look for one of those within the findings. And if you use the term "not," it'll look for the first term, but exclude the thing in the second finding. So what I mean here is "and," "or," and "not." Okay, they're the three terms that we might use. So for instance, what we might do is we might look for sustainability, and we might go "and development." We'll see what comes up here. Go internet. All right, sustainable development, critical issues. Okay, so it's found them both together. Development here, development cooperation reviews, measuring sustainable development, integrated economic. Okay, so we're finding a lot about sustainability and development together. We might look for sustainable and corporate. See what we come up with. There was 634,000 there, 185,234 here. So corporate social responsibility and sustainability, emerging trends in developing economies. Okay, so the "and" operator helps us find where those two terms are going to be together. And you can see we're finding much fewer results. This is one strategy to narrow your search term. So "and" is a good one. We'll skip "or." I don't actually use "or" that much myself in my own research. I tend to use "not" a lot though. So we might look for sustainability. Now we might, in our thinking, we might be going, I'm searching for sustainability, but I'm finding lots of things that are about economic sustainability. I don't really want to know how corporations can become financially sustainable in the long term. There's heaps of work on that. I'm interested in something not that, something other than that. So we can go economic, not financial, for example. Let's see what that comes up with. Okay, change management guide for business, government, and civil society. Okay, so just a thing on sustainability. Okay, lots of stuff on sustainability. You might be crazy. You might go sustainability, not environmental. Okay, and we get different results again. Okay, marketing dynamism and sustainability. Sustainability using Lean Six Sigma techniques. That might be a relevant one. So what we're finding here is we're still finding a lot of general findings on sustainability generally. So we would want to try other things there. So that's Boolean searching, okay? And, or, and not operators that are used to narrow or broaden our searches to find more relevant results and things like that. If you're interested in Boolean searching and how it works, actually just Google it or look it up on YouTube. There's lots of videos that talk through Boolean searching and how to do Boolean searches, and that might be a really useful kind of strategy or tool for you. The next thing I want to show you is databases. Okay, so really when you get into more advanced research, you should be stepping away from Google and Wikipedia and starting to use the library's databases. Now there are excellent databases in the library. We might look at databases by subject, for example. This is the library homepage, then databases by subject down there. And we might look for, say, business. That seems to work. Or, yeah, let's try business. Okay, so here's a list of databases. Now, when you find on the library website, you find an article or a journal, it will say this journal is available in this database. Okay, and the database is where you go to find that actual information. So here's a database is like a collection of a whole bunch of articles and journals. And here they are for business. Okay, so Australian business to business database. It's information on Australian companies, unique opportunity to market your business. Not really what we want here. IBIS World, Informit. Okay, 96 Australian databases covering all of these things. IntelliConnect, Tax Knowledge Exchange for stuff about tax. Business Source Complete. So there's a number of different databases here. So you could start looking through these and becoming familiar with some of these databases and kind of how they work. I'm going to use, there's Academic Search Complete. These are multidisciplinary databases. I'm familiar with some of these, so I'm going to try Academic Search Complete. Let's have a look at what a database looks like. This is what it'll look like. So it'll look fairly similar. It's a search engine, basically. So you could go look in a database for sustainability, and you'll see we've got 88,000 results. Okay, that's much better than the 98 million results we get in Google, remember? Okay, so then what we do is we start going through and we can start clicking on these items. We can get PDF full text because we've gone through the library website. And things like that. You'll see here, oh, what's this? Ah, this has your Boolean operators built in to the database. So you've got and or not, okay? So you could look at sustainability and we've tried development. Let's try sustainability and corporate again, I guess. So we've got 3,133, starting to look good, okay? Or procurement, if you're interested in that, that would be good. Let's try not economic. Let's try and remove economic from the equation. Now this might take it down to 0. We'll see. Okay, we're down to 1,429. If you want to add lines, you can do that, so you can build up very sophisticated, very detailed, nuanced search strategies for doing this sort of thing. Okay, so when you're in a database, we've got sustainability and corporate, not economic. We can limit to full text. Let's do that because that's good to do. Then you can limit to publication date as well. So you can start saying, actually, I want something that's really only in the past 5 years. That should update. That's down to 313. So down here, you've got all different ways of limiting and narrowing your results. Source types, okay? All results. What if we just go academic journals? So that we're just looking for scholarly stuff. We're down to 204. Now 204 is conceivably, you could scan through that. These terms are probably still a little bit too broad, but that's how you kind of narrow and broaden your focus using databases here. Now, one last little trick I want to show you that's an excellent trick. Sometimes we really struggle because we'll find sources that maybe are a little bit old. In sustainability, it's really good to have well-established sources. So that's why we use Ben and Dunphy, some of these seminal texts. So, you could look at sustainability sources from 50 years ago, and because they were so important back then, they're still relevant now. But sometimes we also want the more recent stuff. So maybe we have an article that's a few years old, and we want to know, how have other people used that? How has the discussion, how's the research built and changed? What have people done with it since then to create new knowledge, and how's it been critiqued and things like that? So what I would like to do is go back and show you. I'm going to look for databases A to Z. I'm going to look for G for Google Scholar. All right. So remember Google Scholar, great tool here. I'm really interested in this article because it's a set text. It's fantastic. Okay, it was published in 2013, published online in 2013, originally published in 2006. So I want to go, well, since 2006, what have people said about this Ben, Dunphy and Griffiths article? So I'm going to look it up in Google Scholar. And we found it. Okay, so this is the source. This is the article that we're talking about. If we wanted to click through and find an electronic version of it, we could. But look at this, cited by 119. Now, if we click on that, that will take us to all of the articles that have used this source since. So you see 2008, 2012, 2013. There's 119 there. I might narrow that further and say since 2014, get down to 64 results. Now, here's a tool that we can use that tells us, how have people used Ben and Dunphy since then? How have they been critiqued? What kind of conversation has happened since then? This allows you to get, remember last time we talked about how you could look at an article, look at its reference list and see what it's used prior to the date of that article being published. This allows us to see what's been published since that article was published up until now. So with the power of the internet and these advanced research strategies, we can now look back into the past from an article and back right up until the current day from an article. So there's some of the more advanced techniques you might like to use. Wildcard, Boolean searching, definitely databases. You want to get in the habit of using them, and the cited by tool in Google as well to find things that have happened since then. So I hope that's been useful. Thanks very much for listening, and good luck researching.